I know I haven't posted a video in quite a long time, but now I'm going to start trying to post more frequently. As you can see, this is a video about creepy prison stories, or a creepy prison story, but this isn't necessarily about a prisoner's point of view. It just involves a prisoner, and it's written by a woman that is not a prisoner. The main incidents accounted here happened over a year ago, and I distanced myself from the places where they occurred and therefore haven't really thought about it in a while. I had even stopped living in fear until what happened last night. Also, sorry this is so long. I live in Louisiana, and one of my mom's close friends asked her if I was available to help him with his work. He's an accountant and worked at several offices. He's very kind, but socially very strange. This is literally all I knew. I said, sure, having been sick of working in cafes, I jumped at the opportunity to work for a close family friend. He called me shortly after and asked if I could start Monday, and I said yes. He seemed pretty frazzled on the phone and briefly explained that he needed help adjusting accounts, writing letters, filing, the normal office stuff. He gives me the address, and I drive there a few days later to begin work to find that it is a giant beige warehouse in a pretty desolate town half an hour away, on a street completely empty aside from two other warehouses of the same type. The glare from the sun reflected off the white gravel, making it hard to see, but I noticed a glass door facing the street. I walk up to it and knock on the glass. A man in his mid-40s immediately walks up and greets me with a joyous, wild smile. I tell him who I am there to see. He beckons someone from behind him, and he is instantly flanked by two other men, and all three of them are scanning me meticulously with a crazed and excited look in their eyes that I have never seen before. One of them says, "You gotta go to the other door, sweetheart," and points out to the pull bar on my side of the door. A thick chain is binding the door shut. I also notice that a sturdy metal screen covers the door from the other side. Pretty weird, but this is Louisiana. So I walk to the other doors and enter. Security guards lazing behind a front desk encased in plexiglass. Men being patted down. Moments later, I'm in my new employer's office, who explains to me that this is a privatized prison. I am stunned that he didn't think to mention to me, a young woman, that I would be working in a prison. But really, the opportunity to see the prison system from this side, and especially a privatized prison, fascinated me so much. I could not turn down such a unique opportunity, so I stayed. In that first week, it became obvious that so many things were not right here. A few examples. The sheriff's office does routine drug and alcohol tests that are also to be conducted as soon as any inmate leaves the prison and gets back from work. But each time the police do a random test, they find on average 1/4 of the inmates had been using drugs or alcohol. At one point, when I was working here, a man literally walked out the front doors, past security, stole a van, abducted his ex-girlfriend, raped and beat her nearly to death in the van, then disappeared in the forest. The staff who allowed this happen showed zero remorse, and no one was fired. I should have left right then. The layout of this place. You walk in, security offices to the right, door on your left leads to my office. It'd be important later to only that myself, my boss, and one other person are ever in this office. Continue down this hall, and it opens up into a main room lined with commissary, a few other offices, and makeshift barracks that lead the house to three other inmates. There is a hallway on the right about midway into the main room. To get into this hallway, you have to pass through two heavy doors that immediately slam shut again if you're able to pry one open. Down this hallway is one bathroom for staff. So, as a lady, in order to use the bathroom, I have to walk up to the main room so every inmate can stare at me, wrench open that ridiculous door, hope no one is in the other side because the only people that are generally over there are inmates, and rush close to the flimsy bathroom door that can literally be opened with a fingernail. For this reason, I never ate or drank anything. For that reason, I was exhausted and simultaneously terrified there every single day. Why stay, you might ask? You're undoubtedly asking that, actually. Like I said, my boss was very kind to me, and he grew attached to me in the way, say, a father would. He would often try to make sure I was happy, bringing me lunch every single day. But we are both very conservative people, and if I told him I had been feeling unsafe, I felt as though that would make him upset with himself and not me. It's a strange feeling that sounds insane now that I verbalize it, but whatever. Anyway, knowing I speak German, and in an attempt to entertain me, I guess, my boss asked if I wanted a German pen pal. Finding someone who speaks German in rural Louisiana is pretty tough, so I said yes. He said, I'll have him come over around lunch. At noon, an older, obese black man with a kind smile comes to the door. He greets me in German and hands me a note that he wrote for me, asking me to be his pen pal. He explains that he learned German when he was stationed there. We continue talking in German and then switch over to English when he said, So, can I write to you? I look to my boss for any sign of how to respond to this, because he's clearly an inmate. My boss smiles and nods encouragingly, so I say sure. A week later, I'm at work, and I made the mistake of having to pee once during an 8-hour shift, so I make my way to the bathroom, open the heavy door, squeeze through the other side, and then I see my pen pal standing right in front of the bathroom door, as the steel door closes with a noise not unlike that of the ceiling of a crypt. He asks if I've received his letter, and I said no. Feeling a little uncomfortable that he cornered me back there, I say, well, until then, and hurry to the bathroom. The next day is my day off, and I had plans to meet with a friend. As I'm heading out the door, I notice a few letters for me. It was around my birthday, so I grabbed them and decided to read them while I waited for my notoriously late friend to arrive at the coffee shop. Two were from friends and family, but one was written in an unusual script that I had never seen before. I opened the envelope to find 3 pages of worn college ruled paper folded up. I read the first sentence in disbelief. I read the sentences that followed, shaking and crying in the sunshine. He had found out where I lived. I ran to my car and started driving with no destination. I was terrified. My friend called a few minutes later asking where I was. I went back to the coffee shop and showed her the letter. I never read it again and honestly do not wish to revisit it. None of it was in German. What I remember about it was he told me that he was a sexy black man who was in good shape, although I distinctly remember he was definitely not that, and that I should send him pictures of myself, writing back using a pseudonym so no one at the prison learns about us, and that I should sneak him in some of his favorite tobacco because he prefers hand-rolled cigarettes. I was horrified, unsure of how to approach the situation in my panic. I decided, however, that I would tell security and my boss the next day at work. When I go in the following morning, my office is in chaos. 2 of the owners of the prison recently had a divorce and bought a red Corvette with company money. So we were going through bank statements trying to account for every change. I figured I would wait until lunch to bring it up since it was already such a high stress environment. At some point in the morning, my boss and the other person in my office go to the attic to put some boxes up. It is a fucking rare occurrence that these people are not glued to their desks. A minute later, the door opens and guess who? It's my pen pal. He immediately shuts it behind him and locks it. He looks down at me excitedly. "Did you get my letter, you asks?" I'm shaking and terrified, but I said, "Yes, I got your letter. How did you get my home address? You are never to contact me there again. You are never to enter this office again. You are never so much as to look at me again." His reaction surprised me greatly. He looked down at his hands and made what seemed to be a sincere apology and said that he would leave me alone now. He left the office before anyone arrived and I quit at lunch. I was traumatized and didn't feel like rehashing things to anyone, so I just left without telling anyone, knowing my lease would be up soon and he would no longer know where I live. Flash forward to now. I am living with my boyfriend, applying for grad programs, and loving our new place together. I had never felt unsafe there until last night. He was at band practice, and I was alone in the front room with the curtains drawn, with just a sliver between them. We have an intense fucking LED motion light that goes off when someone is about 2 feet from the door. You have to walk like 11 feet from the street and then up some stairs to get to our door, so it's not really accidentally going to go off. I noticed a bright light from between the curtains. At first I think maybe someone accidentally went up the stairs or some homeless guy is reading through our ashtray and I read it off. 5 minutes later, it goes off, then on again. At this point, I'm afraid. I get up and dial 911 without calling, so it's ready in my phone just in case. I hear the doorknob turn. I text my boyfriend asking if he's at the front door, and he says no. I listened to someone fiddle with the knob for about 2 minutes, and then they left. I'm terrified, so my boyfriend comes home. When he gets back, we examine the porch together and come up with nothing. Finally, we sit down for a cigarette, and when I go to stub mine out, I notice the butt of a hand-rolled cigarette. None of my friends smoke hand-rolled cigarettes. I'm trying to figure out who could have left it when I remember my pen pal asked me to sneak in tobacco for him. A wave of nausea rushes over me. I think he should still be in jail. I'm not sure. I saved the butt in a bag. I'm going to give it to an officer who is a friend. I don't know what else to do. So, this story is pretty terrifying, and hopefully this woman stays safe or stayed safe, as this was written a year ago. Please tell your friends about my videos or share them or whatever, just to get the word out. And thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it.